Previously on Living in Alex Jonestown.
I never sucked any ding-dongs. Look, when you realize how fake it all is, the football, the basketball, the Lady Gaga, the Justin Bieber, who gives you these carbon tax messages. They tell your kids they got to love Justin Bieber, and then Bieber says, hand in your guns, pass the Cybersecurity Act, and... the police state's good, and then your children are turned into mindless vassals who now they look up to some twit instead of looking up to Thomas Jefferson or looking up to Nikola Tesla or looking up to Magellan. I mean, kids, Magellan's a lot cooler than Justin Bieber. He circumnavigated with one ship the entire planet. He was killed by wild natives before they got back to Portugal, and when they got back, there was only like 11 people alive of the 200 and something crew, and the entire ship was rotting down to the waterline. That's destiny. That's will. That's striving. That's being a trailblazer and explorer. Going into space, mathematics, quantum mechanics, the secrets of the universe. It's all there. Life is fiery with its beauty. It's incredible detail. Tuning into it. They want to shut your mind talking about Justin Bieber. It's pure evil!
So, it's finally over. I have lived in Alex Jonestown for 28 days straight. For 4 weeks, I have lived my life as an info warrior. But now, I can finally move out, and I can tell you this now. I am never going back. Well, not for now at least. Not because I started to drink the Alex Jones Kool-Aid, far from it. If anything, this experiment has done nothing but reaffirm and solidify the position I already held before I started, that Alex Jones is completely full of shit. Whether he's knowingly full of shit or unknowingly full of shit, I think, to be honest, the truth lies somewhere in the middle. When I announced I was doing this experiment, there was a significant number of people who understandably expressed concern that I would end up going down the rabbit hole so far that I wouldn't be able to move back out. I had no such concerns myself, because I've spent the last 15 years listening to Alex Jones and knowing full well what a self-serving, disingenuous, manipulative fuckface he truly is. On reflection, I'm probably not the ideal person to be used as the main test subject for this kind of experiment, because my in-depth knowledge and long-time previous experience with Alex Jones made it almost impossible for me to be taken in by his propaganda. I think a better way to have done this, or maybe for someone to do this in future, would be for there to be 3 test subjects. One, like myself, a conspiracy skeptic who has a history of knowing and opposing Alex Jones. Another who is already a long-time supporter of Alex Jones, and a third who has absolutely no previous knowledge or idea about Alex Jones. That's not to say that the last 28 days was a waste of time, and I learnt nothing. Far from it. One thing that surprised me most came not from Alex Jones himself, but from his fans and followers, specifically in the comment sections. In week 1, I was given a gift, which was Alex Jones's nuclear meltdown over Donald Trump's attack on Syria, and his foul-mouthed rant that totally and unequivocally denounced Trump as a sellout and, quote, piece of crap.
And then they sit there and they're like, if you just turn against Trump, things will be better. But he was doing good, and that's what makes it so bad. Oh, and that's what makes it so bad. If he'd have been a piece of crap from the beginning, it wouldn't be so bad. But we made so many sacrifices.
Since then, Jones has gradually gravitated back towards supporting Trump, and I'm sure this is in no small part due to the negative backlash he received from his base over his initial outburst. I'm sure had the response been overwhelmingly positive that Jones would have continued to go all out with his "fuck Donald Trump" agenda. And he probably would have gotten such a response were it not for the fact that he finds himself in a very unique position, a position that he's never been in before, where the guy he has touted as the ultimate anti-globalist who can take down the NWO has actually won the election and is now President of the United States. The second Trump won the election, Alex Jones was suddenly in a very difficult position. He was now tasked with attempting to defend and shill for the establishment, whilst also claiming that the globalists who secretly run the entire country and in fact the world and control everything were desperately trying to stop him. That's the kind of cognitive dissonance that even the most hardened info warrior is going to eventually pick up on. So when the opportunity presented itself for Jones to distance himself from Trump, he pounced on it with all the ferocity that he could. Unfortunately for Alex, Trump is in a position that makes him immensely more powerful than Jones, and thus makes him much more appealing and attractive to those who are desperate to cling on to anything that can make them feel more powerful themselves. Ask yourself this: if you were part of the bitter, self-loathing, angry, paranoid white guy community, who would make you feel more better about yourself? Alex Jones or Donald Trump? Another thing I learned was how the sheer volume of content Alex Jones currently produces is now highly detrimental to his credibility, and ultimately it makes the inconsistencies within his own narrative much more obvious. Within the first 2 weeks, Jones uploaded 5 videos about World War III, all of which were connected to Syria and Russia. Suddenly those videos stopped, and within the last 2 weeks he uploaded over 40 videos about Kanye West. Now ask yourself this: if Kanye West is worthy of more than 10 times the number of videos as World War III, then how serious or likely was World War III in the first place? Incidentally, Alex uploaded only one more video about World War III in the final week, but in this one he now claimed it was going to be started by Israel and Iran, which he only claimed after the two countries had started exchanging missiles. He then uploaded a video claiming Iran was always part of the globalist plan, which again, for a guy who claims he's got all the insider information, is something you'd think he could have mentioned or should have been able to mention before they started bombing each other. The problem is that these days Jones has to produce such a huge amount of content that he can't keep up with his own bullshit. When Alex started out, he used to produce a 1-hour show that was broadcast every Sunday on public access television in Austin, Texas. Now, he's making anywhere between 3 to 8 hours of content a day. To put it in perspective, on day 23 of this experiment, Alex started a live YouTube stream that would go on for 10 hours. Whilst that live stream was still going on, he continued to upload content, and by the end of the 10-hour stream, he had uploaded an additional 25 videos, 3 of which were over 2.5 hours long. The one question I get asked a lot is, how can we defeat or bring down Alex Jones? And the reality, I'm sorry to say to you, is that you can't. No matter what he does, there will always be a never-ending supply of paranoid, angry people desperate to rebel against the system and who will believe literally anything they're told as long as it goes against the establishment or the official story. And Jones isn't the only person who does this. He isn't even the worst culprit of it. In fact, many mainstream media outlets, such as Fox News and the Daily Mail, have been doing exactly that for a very long time. Getting rid of Jones won't fix that problem, because someone else will just immediately jump in and take his place. But if you're one of those people, and I have to admit I'm one of them, who just wants to see Jones brought down, even if it's for nothing else more than your own amusement and satisfaction, then let me give you a crumb of hope. Jones can be brought down, but if it does happen, the only person who's going to do it is Jones himself. And in the last year, we've seen him start to do that to himself by doing something very dangerous, something that he only really started doing very recently, and that is attacking publicly private citizens. Jones usually categorises his enemies in terms that are very vague, general, and even conceptual, thus sparing him the threat of any legal blowback. Terms like the government, the establishment, the elites, the Illuminati, the NWO, the globalists, the deep state, they're so nebulous and lacking in any form of specificity. But recently he's made the mistake of going after private citizens in ways that have had very real-world consequences. The first example was Pizzagate, which was the conspiracy that a pizza restaurant called Comet Ping Pong was acting as a child sex trafficking business. This led, unfortunately, to an armed man who believed this to be true turning up at the restaurant one day. The restaurant owner promptly filed legal action against Alex Jones, who, upon realising that he had no way to substantiate or prove the claims of the Pizzagate conspiracy, and was up against a man who could financially cripple him, agreed to make a full public retraction and apology for spreading this conspiracy theory in the first place. The same exact thing happened with the owner of the yogurt company Chobani, who sued Alex Jones when he claimed that he had deliberately hired refugees who were rapists and terrorists to work in his factory. Once again, when faced with legal action from someone who could financially take him on, Jones backed down and offered a full retraction and apology. Each time he apologised, his credibility took a massive blow, and he lost many, many fans and subscribers and followers over it. And as bad as that made him look, it was either that or go to court, lose, and be financially and personally destroyed. When you add to this the recent case brought against him by the parents of the Sandy Hook victims, which it looks like he will be going to court over, you can see a recurring theme here. There is, however, only one person out there who could, if they chose to, cause a complete irreversible destruction of Alex Jones. And Jones had better hope and pray that this guy doesn't choose to one day take him to task over the countless things that he has said about him over the years. That person is George Soros. As I showed in my Week 3 video, Alex Jones has uploaded on YouTube alone 290 videos about George Soros. And if Alex Jones isn't careful, one day all those videos could come back to bite him on his humongously wobbly arse. If Soros decided to sue Alex Jones, that would probably be the end for him, one way or another. Either he goes to court and gets destroyed, or he doesn't go to court, he doesn't get sued, but he has to publicly apologise again. And if there's one thing that I don't think even Alex Jones could ever fully recover from, it'd be the shame of having to publicly apologise and bow down to evil Lord George Soros. Whether that ever happens or not, I can't possibly say, because at the moment I honestly doubt that George Soros really gives a shit what Jones says about him. Only time will tell. But for now, I'm done. I have lived in Alex Jonestown for 28 days straight, and I have no desire to return anytime soon. Obviously, I will continue to make videos about him, because he's gonna always be my #1 YouTube muse. But until then, I'm going to go and take a very long vacation to Establishment Town, where I will be heavily binging on as much mainstream liberal Jew-owned media as I possibly can. I hope you have enjoyed watching me take this journey. I hope you've enjoyed coming along with me. And if you haven't learned anything, maybe you've at least found it a bit entertaining. If you have done, please consider subscribing to this channel. Please leave a comment, like this video, and if you enjoy the work I produce on here, please consider donating to my Patreon, all of which will be linked below. My name's Dick Coughlin. Thank you very much. Good night. May God be less.
I never sucked any ding-dongs.